All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of the review. First of all, this is what I was running. This is an Arsenal SLR 107. Now, the gun ran absolutely wonderful. The operator, not so good. The problem that I had was the safety. A lot of the guys that were shooting, when Matt yelled threat, I wasn't able to bring up, or I was already at the low ready, I was not able to get up, take it off safety, and shoot. They were already shooting before I was, so that's one problem. Now the second problem, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, this is a NC Star red green dot, okay? I don't know if somebody made it while they were asleep, but this thing's a piece of junk. About halfway through the firing portion of it, that little green dot or the little red dot, it disappeared when I shot. No good. So literally there was like 2 or 3 of the drills that I was operating only on the optic itself, and then I just switched to iron sights. I just said to hell with it, and that's why I like the way it's set up, is because I can use iron sights or red dot. But in this case, I don't like equipment that fails on me in training. The reloads were a little bit difficult because, again, I'm not an AK guy. I'm trying to, learn how to use this firearm, but it's tough. That's why there's practice. Remember, we train to know what and how to practice. Now, I was also using my little duty belt here. I think this is a Blanco or a Bianchi or something like that. That's a Black Hawk magazine holder for the Glock 19 I was using, which is right here. This is a holster that I made myself. Works very well. Now I was also in a class with another friend that they were running the AR, so I just kept this on my belt just to be used to the weight and everything. So it worked great. Now this is original Special Operations equipment. It's a Mookie War Rig Light. So it's got 4 magazine holders here. This is basically a high-speed gear taco that I've got. That's where I carried my AK, which is the way I got them in here. I felt very comfortable being able to pull them out and taking out the spent magazine. 2 more Glock 17 mags, of course. And then my backup pistol, which I'm not sure I'm going to run that. So keep in mind, this is going to be something where in maybe a week or so, I'm going to change all this. So I'll do a video on that of everything that I've changed so far. This is basically just a review on how the equipment basically did. So of course you see my TDI knife. Now this is an SOE tourniquet holder. Worked absolutely great the first time, but it is almost impossible, and you got to keep in mind we're doing drills, so we have to put these things back together really quickly. So I'm gonna maybe talk to John to see if maybe he has an idea on how to put it back together with 1 arm or 2 arms in this close proximity. So it's something to work on, but it still worked. It worked absolutely wonderful. The SOE vest was so comfortable with all the weight, and I kept the AR magazines in here for that weight, so I was used to carrying that weight. Now we'll stay on SOE gear for a little bit here. These are the Impact Sports hearing protection. They're electronic, very good. Haven't had any issues with them whatsoever. I can still hear people, but yet I'm not blasted by gunfire. This is a Peltor wrap from SOE. Very, very comfortable. As you can see, it's got the netting inside there to kind of wick away the sweat and dry it off. You can wear them all day long. Believe me, I do. Let's see. Oh, this is the SOE single point sling. Worked absolutely wonderful. I couldn't ask for a better sling. This is a single point. Now, what my partner in crime was running was the SOE 2-point sling, which can also be used as a 1-point sling, but they chose to use it as a 2-point. Worked very good. It's adjustable, goes down real small, real large, depending on what you're doing. Because remember, guys, when you're out there giving care in the field, you don't want to be swinging your barrel around somewhere. So if you loosen it up and slide it back, Works great. The other SOE gear, now I personally ran this in Tactical Response's fighting rifle class. Worked great because I didn't have the Mookie rig yet. So this is a micro shotgun rig. So basically I just took out the internals there, put in AK mags. This is where the medical was with this little flop out. It's got all kinds of bandages and stuff in there for major trauma. Easily accessible. So now that's all the SOE gear. The other gear I bought from a firefighter friend when I was in the department. This is basically, it's a larger IFAK, I guess you would call it, where it just rolls out. You got tape, needle decompression. Now one of the things that Matt went over was with needle decompressions, usually the onset of those symptoms aren't for at least 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes even longer, depending on the trauma that you have. So do I really need this? Not necessarily. Do I like having it? Yeah, because there's always that case. Gauze, chest seals, things that can be used as chest seals. You got your H bandage, tourniquets, gauze. Now gauze for packing wounds, which was another skill that I learned. Scissors on a lanyard, they work out so you don't lose them. And of course gloves in here. And just in case, you know, there's a medical notepad that I like to carry around, because again, this aid bag is not necessarily for shoot 'em up, you know, situations where everybody's being shot. This could be something that I have in my truck at the time and there's a car accident. I can use any of this stuff. Now, my friend was using this smaller version, and it's got pretty much the basic same stuff. Chest seal stuff, quick clot, needle decompression, tape, tourniquet, gauze, packing gauze, abdominal gauze. Same thing with the scissors. And it stays with you, so you can just drop that around anywhere you want. All right, so we're getting down to, oh yeah, and sorry Matt, I got to get this back to you. This was one of the other things that was part of the class, which we did use in the classroom, but one of the points that Matt brought up was when this gets bloody, it's hard to put on, especially yourself. So one of the things that, and this is part of the new ways to use the old equipment, was that this can be used on pediatrics, and it can be used on dogs, you know, cop dogs, because it doesn't have a limit to the size. The tourniquets that we carry, they kind of have a limit to the size of arm or leg that you can put them around. So it was, again, it was a very learning experience. Last but least, for us old geezers, $4.95 at Walmart. These things were awesome. I didn't have bruises on my knees. I felt comfortable getting up and down and all that stuff. So last but not least, I'll go over this. This is a rifle that I'm used to. It's a DB-15, and I love it. I've had it for several years. I've run countless of rifle classes through it. I couldn't even tell you how many rounds I've got through it. It's up into the tens of thousands. PMags, of course. I changed out the grip, and I've got the backup sights. Now the wonderful thing about that is it's co-witness to the Aimpoint Red Dot. Aimpoint Red Dot worked wonderfully through the whole entire class, because I did ask that question whether or not they felt comfortable with it, and they're like, yeah. So this basically is, right now, is my go-to. I'm not going to put this AK stays in a place where I don't have to worry about over penetration, where this is something I'm going to go upstairs with if I have to, because of the fact that it's 223. But the one thing that I added right before the class was this handguard, because I didn't like the short handguard that it has, and it's something I want to change in the future by making it longer. But this helped out me anyway, because I shot it before the class tremendously. So if you guys have any suggestions on any of the gear put them down in the comments. You know, just keep it clean. And the suggestions on new ways to use this stuff is great. The tourniquet thing, if anybody out there that uses the SOE tourniquet holder, if you found a way to where you can flip it back and it's real easy, please let me know. Other than that, thank you for watching, and remember, your walls are your training. Make sure they're strong. Thanks a lot.